Donnie Houston.
Yeah, man, it's going down. It's Donnie Houston podcast. I am Donnie Houston. Check it out, man. We got a real special guest today, man. I'm talking about a Texas mainstay. I'm talking about hook legend. I'm talking about, man, the man is just, he's been on so many classics, from Superstar to Platinum in the Ghetto to all the Row records, the Trae records, and I mean, just so many. The list just goes on, man. And you know, man, it's only one person fit that description, man, and that's Billy Cook. What's going down?
What's going on, Donnie?
How you doing, man?
Man, better than amazing.
Man, I'm honored to have you here, man.
Man, I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, for sure.
Real talk, man. It's been a long time coming.
For sure. You were just singing Sam Cooke before we started.
Real talk,
Change
man.
gonna come, man.
Yeah.
For sure. Man, talk about like what you got going on right now?
I got a lot going on. Starting up businesses.
Okay.
Been an entrepreneur outside of the music industry. You know, Bitcoin. Been in that industry. Metaverse.
Are you? Okay. So, can you kind of break that down to me a little bit? Because I'm still kind of learning that whole Bitcoin, Metaverse, that whole thing.
Bitcoin is the grandfather of all cryptocurrencies. You know, it's been around since 2008. A lot of people are getting more versed with it or more familiar with it. I'm gonna say right now because it's a sovereign space where people are peer-to-peer transferring crypto to crypto without any other interaction from the centralized market, meaning the banking, financial markets. You know, it's a decentralized space. So decentralized meaning that it's peer-to-peer. People can actually transact with each other without any repercussions except for making sure that they copy their wallet addresses or their numbers, make sure they copy the information down right before they send it to a person, like how Cash App to Cash App. You know, but it's dealing with wallets, it's dealing with a lot of numbers, and you have things like seed wallet phrase, passwords that keep yours secure, and 2FA, two-factor authentication, things of that nature that allows individuals to be able to do transactions or do business or pay a person or receive payment from those individuals as they do their e-commerce or so to speak.
So I guess I'm wondering, like, is this a completely different thing, or like how does this turn into like cash money? You know what I'm saying?
It's a cryptocurrency. It's a currency that's right now on private exchanges and public exchanges. So it's just like it's a form of crypto. It's a form of currency. Just like you got foreign exchange, people sell and buy and you know, money online. So the governments have set us up to do that anyway. When if you go, let's just take it a step back. Food stamps went from food stamps to a card to now digital, where people can check their food stamp
to their account online. Right.
So
Gotcha.
and then businesses or jobs that pay individuals, pay them their money. They used to do it the old way, which, you know, the old way of e-commerce and bartering. You know, now people not doing trading. Then now with cash, it went from gold and silver to cash, which is a paper receipt. From paper receipt to debit cards. From debit cards to now online digital transactions. So everything is changing. It's just a lot of people just refuse to change with the time, so they wind up living off of the change.
So how do you spend? Let's say you have, you know, X amount or whatever Bitcoin, or like if you want to make purchases with that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, say you want to go to, buy something online, pair of sneakers or something like that. Like, how do those types of things?
Dealing like with POS stations, point of sales, the same machines that you see in the stores, department stores. A lot of individuals utilize that form of payment, with their digital cards. The same debit cards that you have, as long as it has a Visa or Mastercard logo on it, they can use it. That POS station automatically converts it over. But when you're dealing with Visa and Mastercard, they're not owned by banks; they're their own entity. So a lot of people are trying to learn and understand how to get paid by using cryptocurrency versus using fiat currency, because it's a big difference in fiat, which is the U.S. dollar, which is backed by the U.S. government or the federal government. Cryptocurrency is in a sovereign space by itself, so it's peer-to-peer, but as long as they have a relationship with Visa and MasterCard and that logo is on that card, it's detected only through that means of methods, all those methods and those means, so an individual can now, even in the music industry, can now pay individuals, artists for shows, features, for product, or should I say paraphernalia?
Paraphernalia.
Right, so, but it gets better and better, or gooder and gooderer, so individuals can utilize, like I have a debit card that I use right now, which allows me to do tap pay, but use my debit card at ATM. As long as it's not going into my bank and it's in my crypto wallet, I'm not worrying about taxes on that. So a lot of individuals are now accepting that form of payment and utilizing that to expand their horizons, grow their businesses, a lot of businesses are receiving their payment in Bitcoin. A lot of people are receiving their tax returns in cryptocurrency because it's safer for them, because now I don't have to worry about all that rigmarole, all that extra fluff, that fake stuff. Cryptocurrency is real. People just have to adjust or change with the times. If they don't, they'll wind up living off of that change.
Yeah, man. Let's talk a little bit about music, man. I'm sure you're still touring and everything.
Oh yeah. Still doing shows. I got casinos that are booking me now. I'm starting to dibble and dabble into more of the bands. I do a lot of my own personal recording because it saves not only me time and money and energy, but it allows me to be in my own space that I can control to give out a better sound. Because normally I deal with a lot of producers, and they want to tell me how to sing, but they can't sing. It's kind of an oxymoron. So with the shows that I'm getting, it allows me to put my show CDs together the right way so that when I go and perform, I can perform the way I want to on those shows or those tour dates or those venues that people are calling me for. So I'm doing a lot more shows. I'm doing a lot more features now because I'm controlling the environment. So that's a real good thing for me. I'm getting a lot of shows right now.
What's on the because you got so many classics. When you go out there, what's on the Billy Cook show dish? You know what I'm saying? What's the ones where you like, man, these are the ones I have to do that I know for a fact.
That is
Superstar,
a great
of course,
question. Player haters wanna know who you are when you're coming down like a superstar. But most people know I'm performing. If it's a show going on, they can tell this on my playlist because they'll hear a voice without the music, which has never been done. They always just hear the music. So when they hear me they hear a show going on and they hear my vocals in the background on a mic or PA system, and you hear, yeah, player haters wanna know who you are when you're coming down like a superstar, or living my dream cause it's all I know, keeping my head up everywhere I go, making my cash, baby, that's for sure. Now I have to tell people I'm still platinum in the ghetto.
Come on, man. Come on, man. I didn't even have to. I'm so glad you did that, bro, because I didn't want to be corny and ask you, hey, man, can you sing a couple of these for me? You just went into it, man. That was right on.
I'm from the country, so most of the time I'm always just being down to earth. So I do that it's just a part of my nature to just come out and just sing no matter where I go. Kind of like the lyrics in the songs. Like I said, I'm from East Texas. Of course, Devin the dude. He's from East Texas too as well. And you
And
see
this particular town, I forgot. My boy was telling me, which town are you from in Texas?
I'm from Atlanta, Texas.
Atlanta, Texas. That's exactly
Yeah,
what
Northeast
Atlanta,
Texas,
Texas.
and
Yeah.
it's right by. That's like Douglasville, Texarkana, Arkansas, Palestine. Some people pronounce it Palestine, Grapeland. It's a little old country town. So far off in the country, got to come to the city to hunt.
That's crazy. How do you get from Atlanta to the H though?
Well, my daddy was in the Army, and my mom was a school teacher. So my daddy traveled a lot, moved around a lot. So we moved wherever he was at, as far as where he was stationed, from Fort Hood all the way to Amarillo, Texas, just different places. And so we moved a lot, but allowed me to be well rounded. So I moved to Dallas. I lived in Dallas. I lived in East Texas, Texarkana, Arkansas, Amarillo, then to Dallas. From Dallas, back to East Texas, then to Houston. So
what is majority of your life growing up? Would you say probably took place, or was it literally just pieces, just
bits and pieces? But I think I've lived. I know I lived in Houston longer than any place. I went all my elementary growing up in school. That was more Dallas. That's where I got most of my roots from. But Houston was more of my junior high, high school. That was all Houston.
So where'd you go junior high school and high school?
Coming from a little bit of Dallas, then migrating to Houston, and because I went to Florence Middle School. I went to a couple of different middle schools, but that's the one that stuck with me.
What side of the tip? Florence? What side of town is that on?
I don't even remember, man. It's been so long since I left there. I'm not saying I'm telling my age, but I have been around for quite some time.
So where you end up going for high school?
High school. I went to Southeastern High School first, and from Southeastern High School, Atlanta High School, then Southeastern High School.
Oh, so you still going back and forth?
Still going back and forth because I moved a lot, and so I left, at an early age, went back to my hometown, wound up, did a makeshift move, came to Houston, and when I hooked back up with my parents, came to Houston. I've been here ever since.
Were you doing music along this time, or are you running the music at the time?
I was not really doing music professionally. I was just singing at different venues with my cousin. He played the harmonica. I told you, it was in country. So we found ways to make music, beating on the tables. So when I came to Houston and got into kind of moving around in the music, I kind of kept that same kind of format of just staying in tune with music. Got in touch with a few artists, people that was on the street singing, and got in the high school band and high school choir, and met my managers then, and that's when I started doing it professionally. But it's just so much. My story is so vast. But if I sit down and really map out the story, it'll be one heck of a movie.
Man, so what? Okay, because I know Superstar. That's my first time hearing Billy Cook. But what were you doing prior to that?
Before Superstar, I had just gotten a deal with Rap A Lot. That was in 1994. From 1994 to 1998, I was on Rap A Lot Records. I had a solo deal, and I was with a group. The label I was on that was pushing me was my manager at the time, Cynthia Cook, and you had Katrina Kirkendall and Reggie Airman Dixon that played with the Globetrotters. So I was being looked at by a lot of people. I just didn't know it. And even from my high school year, and being in high school, I didn't even know I was even popular. That's how I met Lil Keke in school. We were classmates.
Worthing or Jones?
Jesse H. Jones. So I went from Southeastern High School to Jesse H. Jones. That's when I really got heavily. I started singing a lot of a cappella. So while they were rapping and beating on tables, they were beating on tables and making music, but I was doing the singing. So that's how it kind of started with me. But I really had no major interest in it because I was playing a lot of sports too.
So was Keke was rapping with y'all at school back then while you was singing?
Keke was rapping in school and I was singing in school. So we was in the hallways all the time.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So you leave Jones, you sign to Rap A Lot.
Yeah.
What ended up happening with that situation? I mean, of course it didn't work out, but like, what was
Well, prior to going to Rap a Lot, because there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of missing.
Okay, well, give
pieces
it.
of
That's what I'm
puzzle.
saying.
So,
Give it to me before Superstar.
so
Run it down.
so this what happened before Superstar, before Rap a Lot. My managers at the time had gotten me on a tour with Silk, Frankie Beverly and Mays. I did a lot of private shows for Zena Garrison, Laurie McNeil, and Robin Gibbons.
So how are you getting these opportunities? Just from singing around and people just like, okay, he's talented.
My management, great managers, they knew I'd sing, so they knew to put me in the right place. And Cynthia, my manager at the time, and Katrina, they did a lot of most of the promoting. Getting me on a lot of shows, just saying, look, hey, you got to hear him. You got to hear him sing. Got to hear him sing. Went all the way to Austin. I'd never been to Austin. I was like, man, this is big. Austin is huge. So a lot of that took place, and then they put me in, and a lot of took place. My music taking off was because of the way they promoted me, the way they talked so highly of how gifted I was. I didn't know how gifted I was. I just liked to sing. I knew I could sing. And they used to always work on me, talked about personal development. You got to be coachable, teachable, trainable, because we hear things that you don't hear when you sing. Like, I didn't know that I was singing nasally. I didn't know that. I'm from the country, so I don't know. I'm thinking this sounds good to me. My ears wasn't trained. So being around people who knew singers and knew athletes and been in entertainment, and it kind of helped grow me in the industry to catch up to where I wasn't no longer green, that I started developing an understanding of what music was really about. And then now I started becoming more engaged and honing my craft. And from there, I knew that even when I first got to Houston, outside of meeting them, I met Ronnie Spencer, who was actually my uncle. Ronnie Spencer, his sister, and I'm giving you a little bit of everything, but it'll make sense over time.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I first met DJ Screw, was at the skating rink where Ronnie was DJing. Me and Ronnie, we lived literally like apartment next door. We was off South Shaver. So I was going to school right across from that. The school was South Houston High School. So South Shaver Apartments was right across from there. So I learned a lot from him, just looking at those crates and seeing him do crates. So people, if you want to know how far Ronnie Spencer go back, he's been doing music.
See, that's a new thing I've learned, is that like Ronnie Spencer was a DJ before he was doing all the singing.
I heard him sing for the first time, and I was like, he played a lot of Al Green and a lot of Ron Isley. He was DJing all the records, the old school Parliament. I watched him do that, so I was like, I need to do some music. I could sing, and that's another influence.
Was he singing and DJing, or he was just DJing?
He was mostly DJing, but I knew he could sing, and I didn't really know who DJ Screw was at the time. I heard him say, I'm going to meet up with Screw. I'm going to the skating rink. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Around what year is this?
Man, I had to be at least, I'm going to say 16. Yeah, I was about 16 years of age, so that was a while back.
Yeah, early 90s.
A while back.
Yeah.
A while back. And but my life changed dramatically, speeding forward, changed dramatically because of the determination and the bulldog tenacity of the management that I had. I was signed to an independent label called Always Infinity Records. They pushed me to, we had an attorney they had on board named Cynthia Lloyd at the time. She was really fighting for them. I had offers from MCA, RCA, labels that you probably don't really hear too much about now. Maybe MCA, but not RCA. But like I said, my career was growing. My first appearance they got me on was Pump It or Dump It, on 97.9 and also 102. So this boy could really sing. So I have a long history of where I came from, and I was a solo artist, but I felt like I gelled better with groups. So always singing with groups because my family sang, so I was good with that. I felt comfortable singing in the background. But I'm a guy that perfected the background So now it doesn't matter about background to me now. I can be out front, but that's what scares a lot of people. Because I got so much history in being in the background that when I step out, I don't step out as a mouse. I step out as a giant.
Hmm.
So the records I'm on, even if it's just a small smidget of a record, I dominate that space, and I don't consider myself in competition with anybody.
Do you think that you get the credit you deserve for all the work that you put in?
No, I don't. I don't think I get the credit or the recognition that I should, but I think that I'm in the right place because it allows me to not have to deal with all of the whatever all the other artists who get their recognition have to deal with.
Hmm.
So I feel like I'm in a safe place,
Hmm.
because I do it because I want to do it or how I want to do it when I want to do it, and I still have my management in my ear. I still have respect for all the people, the management, the people that they brought into the fold who come and gone. But that's because I'm humble, and so it allowed me to be well rounded because I was well rounded by listening and being quick to listen, slow to speak, not being so quick to anger because I've did some things out of anger that cost me certain relationships, but I was able to mend it because when you grow, you can only outgrow where you're at. And
Yeah.
so I've grown a lot in the music industry. I've grown a lot with people. So relationships mean more to me than anything. Friendship mean more to me than money. So no one in this industry. Well, I'm gonna tell you this: most people who've met me and met my management over the years know that nobody can out-friend me.
Hmm.
I'll have more friends, and even with new artists, they was like, "Man, I feel like I've been knowing you for years."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just who I am.
Yeah. Man, talk about with that superstar, man. How did you get involved with that? And I've had a couple people come on and talk about the making of the record, and Pat already kind of had his hook, and
Yeah, he
you
did
know,
already have his hook
and
at
then
the
you
time.
came in, and on the last minute, you know what I mean. I
Yeah.
think it was it Mike D or it was
It,
somebody
wa-
who told me
it,
they brought you in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that came together once again. Let's go back to my management. Management knew Pam Harris and D Solo as Street Flavor at the time. We were real good friends. They loved me. We loved them. And we were at their office. Mike D, Fat Pat, sitting in a chair in front of the desk talking to Pam Harris about the record that's going to be one of the biggest records. And they was working on this special record, and they're almost done with it. And so they said, "Can you get asked Cynthia? Can you get Billy to the studio with them?" They said they're gonna be at the studio at 6 o'clock with Big Rich, Ultimate Sounds, and that's how it started. So we went that night, went over to the studio. Fat Pat and Mike D was there because Pat said, "Man, I got this, man, I got this," and Mike D was tapping him on the shoulder, said, "Man, just let him do it. You singing on all the records. You always want to just sing on all the records." And so that's how that came about. Got to the studio. It was Judge. It was Rico. It was Big Swift, the producer. All these producers and engineers had Big Rich at the studio, and my manager said, "Hey, look, I need you to go in there and do what you do. You already know what to do. We already know you're not gonna be in there long because that's just how you work." Went in the studio. Big Swift put on the record. Big Rich, he queued up everything and said, "Go on in the booth. This is the song." I said, "Let me hear it one time all the way through." And then they played the record. I went in there. I was only in there for probably no more than, it was a one take. It wasn't no 5 or 6, 20 takes. Wasn't
Just
no,
went all the way through.
all the way through from the intro of the song. And because I love jazz, I've been in so many different types of music things, and that's where I called me a man with 1,000 voices. So I knew to go in. I said, "Look, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna just act crazy on this record. I'm gonna just gonna do me."
Hmm.
And I sang on that record, man. I probably was in there about however long the song was, and if it was 3 minutes, or if it was 3.5 minutes, that's how long I sang on the song all the way to the end. And if you really pay close attention to the end of the song Superstar, the ad libs I did it all the way to the end, You got one
Like a
take.
superstar.
That's right.
That shit crazy.
That's right. You know, and after
Yeah.
that, I left out of there.
Hit the high note and swinging, baby.
Man, from the names
Yeah.
Blunt and Chris, I was saying, you know,
Yeah.
Corey Blunt and
Like
you know
Blunt
all
and
these names I
Chris.
said in the song. I didn't even know who these guys was.
Wait. So did they? How many times did they play the record for you before you went in there and did
Just one
it?
time. Just one time. I didn't. I had just met Mike D and Fat Pat that day. I talked to Bam. Cynthia and I talked to Bam, and that's another. And outside of that, that was the first time I met 3-2, because after that session, we went outside and I saw this long candy paint Lincoln and 3-2 with this a Harley Davidson truck. Man, it was all about this Harley Davidson truck. But anyway, you know, but I saw them out there freestyling, going against each other, battling each other, freestyling. But it was such a friendly thing, and they had so much fun doing it. I was so fascinated. I said, "Oh yeah, I want to be in this industry even more." Cause
That's crazy. You just pull up and here's Fat Pat and 3-2 just going back and forth.
And I just did the deal with Rap-A-Lot in '94. So I did that record in '94. The record didn't come out till I think between '96 and '97.
Like 97, 98, yeah.
And they still to this day didn't even know who it was. My name wasn't on the record.
Wait, you did Superstar in 94?
90, I'm gonna say 90, between '94, '95.
No shit. Okay, so what's your impression of like Fat Pat and Mike D like when you met
They
them?
were cool. Always cool.
Yeah.
Always cool. Mike D, me and him still cool to this day.
Yeah.
Still to this day. Fat Pat, it was rest in peace. You know, the time that I spent with him was like the time I spent with Mafioso. You know, so it was short lived, but it was very impactful. You know, so memories. I still retain a lot of memories, more than most people. I was a square, because I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, but I was always around it, and I probably talk more about about the habits than anybody else, because I've sung on more songs than anybody, over 800 records out the South.
Yeah.
So I understand the culture more than anybody, because I didn't have no choice, because I had to sing lyrics and enhance people's vision on those records.
Yeah.
You know, so I've sung in a lot of bathtubs, shower curtains, you know, closets with pillows hanging on the wall, 2-track, 4-track mixers. I go back so far, like 8-ats and Cadillacs. That's how far I go back, like 8-ats and Cadillacs.
Pat actually accepted Christ that night.
Yeah, Pat gave his life to Christ that night.
How did that happen?
Same thing with Mafio.
How did this happen with the giving the life church time?
Just the relationship, you know, that my manager Cynthia had. By the way, who was my wife.
Yeah,
You know, so they were just casually conversation.
And he said that he,
Yeah.
you know, he want to be saved one day.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I want to be saved one day. Like, well, we can do that right now.
Yeah.
And so,
And that's how it happened.
we went outside. I said, come on with me. We went outside and I led him to Christ.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So whenever you hear, that's a major story, and you think about Hawk, when you always hear get under Hawk's wings, because Hawk was the same way. Right before Hawk passed, he and I we were the two that's supposed to go to Japan together. When I went to Japan to do that tour, he was supposed to be on that tour with me, because we were the most requested features out the South at the time.
Man, what's some of your memories from just being around Hawk, man?
Hawk always had this smile. He was so tall, or was I so short? Yeah, he was tall, and he was like a big brother. Like him and Pokey always was like tall, big dudes, and he would always like encourage people. So yeah, baby, it's gonna be all good, baby. You know, and you know, just stay encouraged. You know, God got you, baby. You know, and his comfort, he always comforted people. And he did his thing. You could see it even in the old freestyles, videos that anybody ever caught of him. But being around him and recording in the studio, he knew what he wanted. He knew how he was going to deliver. And you couldn't tell him no different. He knew he was going to deliver you a masterpiece. He knew he was going to give you a masterpiece. So every artist out of the South, from Hawk to everyone, everyone has a unique relationship with that artist. This their moment. Like I had my moment with DJ Screw.
What's your give me a DJ Screw moment?
Well, DJ Screw moment was like right after South Park Mexican had got his deal with Universal. We was at this club, he was getting an award, and Screw was there receiving his award, and he was getting ready to leave, and I said, I really want to talk to Screw about being a part of the Screwed Up Clique. And he was like, I went outside, talked to him, he was getting ready to leave. He said, hey, Cook. You know, I said, hey, what's up, Screw? I said, we start kicking and talking right then and there before he had to get out of there. I didn't really want to hold him up. You know, and he said, I actually said, hey, man, I want to know what does it take for me to be a part of the Screwed Up Clique. He said, he hit me with the back of his hand on my chest, said, man, you already part of the Screwed Up Clique. Yeah, I thought you was already, and he said, you already screwed up. You know, so, but that was our conversation. Shortly after that, you know, what happened with him, you know, that took place. So, but what if I hadn't spoke? I wouldn't have had my one-on-one conversation with him. You know, they always say a closed mouth don't get fed, but also a closed mouth can't build a relationship either. And so my management always taught me to go for what you know. Go speak to everybody. Go talk to everybody. So that's been how I am. I've been in business. I go talk to everybody. I go shake hands with everybody. He said, you got to go out there and be like the president. You got to go shake some hand and get some babies. So I had to go out and do that with people, and that's how I first met Boys to Men when they first came to Houston. You know, I was at a hotel, and I'm gonna go up and say I can sing. I'm Billy Cook. I can sing. So this dude here, he ain't scared. Sing something. Why don't y'all sing something? Kind of like the 5 Heartbeats. So he said, why don't you sing something? And so I met Wanye. Wanye wasn't sociable at the time, but Bassman was, and I forgot the other tall guy. But anyway, I don't remember so many names in the music I've met over time.
Sean and Michaels. Michaels is
Sean.
Duke, and then Sean is the other tall one.
Yeah, and so that's how my confidence was building more and more in the industry to go talk to everybody. I always had my phone out to get somebody's number if I could get their number, if they was cool like that. But my management at the time was a beast. Because it went from 3 managers, because one was a globetrotter, couldn't really spend a whole lot of time. But my management at the time was Cynthia Cook now, also Katrina Kirkendall. So those were my management that was consistent for years. And that's how I got my first deal with Rap-A-Lot. So that deal with Rap-A-Lot changed lives. You know, even though a record didn't come out, but Jay had my back because he left me under the leadership of my management, and we still had our label, but we did like a joint thing. Come to find out, wind up becoming family because my first cousin was married with Jay. So all my cousins, you know, I have a lot of new cousins, you know, through that ordeal. So just like I was with Ronnie Spencer, his sister married my uncle. So Ronetta, so I have a large family from Screwed Up Clique, from the Swisher House. I've been on more records than anybody out here, so I know a lot of people. I'm just remain humble.
You talk about a lot of records, man. You got a lot of records. It was that period, man, like that maybe 2000 or 2002 when you and Ro was just kind of
Yeah.
connected, man, on so many joints. You know what I mean? And Life is a Bitch, and you know, just so many records, man. Do you have a favorite feature that you did within that time period, or just with Ro
Yeah.
in general?
I have with that and that during that time it was I did a lot of records with Ro and with Trey. And with Ro, my favorite songs was the Top Flight,
Hmm. All night long.
all night long,
Mm-hmm.
and we did also Life is a Bitch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, also uh, the two other songs. I said it was three, but it was two other songs I did with him on a record, um, and it was 1 2
Mm-hmm.
and Respect Some.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with those songs with him was really huge with me. Now other people would beg to differ and say that it was the one called She Gangsta, which was on my album, what was on his album called Gangsta Girl.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then now with Trey, the transition with me and Trey was we did a lot of records together.
That
Especially
first
with
album, man, you all over that, man.
Oh yeah, the don't
On I think what was the album? Was that
Losing Composure.
Losing Composure?
Yeah, I
Losing
did songs like
Composure.
Days of My Life,
Yeah.
Stay Out of My
Yeah.
Way, These Niggas Better Stay Out My Way,
Yeah.
Slow Loud and Banging.
Yeah.
We will gunplay. So there's a lot of records, with Trey. We had a lot of fun recording those records. Trey let me be who I needed to be, who I wanted to be on those records.
Hmm.
Hey, I need you to write this hook, Cook. Sometimes I hear people say write this hook, Cook. I'll be thinking that they just doing it just to rhyme, but it just so happened it just worked out that way.
Hmm.
And did a lot of songs with ABN,
Mm-hmm.
with Slab, Slow Down and Banging. Those records migrated with me overseas to Japan. Started doing a lot of records with Big Pokey on Dope Game 2000 and
Mm-hmm.
3000. From
That
Lil
Dope
O, My
Game
Loved
2000,
Ones, so
man.
many records, so many
Man,
hits.
come on, man.
And then today, new records is the
But we
most
can't
important
before we
thing
even
to me.
get to the new one though, because we skipped over that monster, that Platinum in the Ghetto. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Platinum in the Ghetto. Now that record here, I feel like it was Houston's the heart of Houston. That record, and that was another record that was an instant hit. Took me the same amount of time I went in there with, a little bit longer than the one with Superstar Fat Pat. This was a little longer, but I was over there recording with Lil Keke. I had I think a few other artists was over there at the time. We were recording that record. That was with Sinclair at his studio. A lot of people remember Sinclair, and I think he's recording in ATL right now. And worked with some of the greatest producers and engineers, like from Mike Dean, who's mixed a lot of these records with me and Lil Keke, me and Ro, me and Trey. It's been a blessing. These records grew me up in this industry because I didn't know my worth in the beginning, but now I do. And that's what's given me, I think, the slight edge. I have a sound that was on 90% of the records. So when you say favorite artists to work with or records, really, my favorite was working with everybody, really, truly.
Yeah, yeah. Man, you were talking about your new joints though.
New joints. My new joints, I've been working with artists like in the Zydeco field, in the trail ride blues field, working with Jeter Jones, working with my baby brother. Well, not my baby brother, but I consider my baby brother because I'm the oldest. So Marcel Casanova, he got a song that really went big, and it had features like me, Cupid, Jeter Jones, Queso Rocks, and Chris Cook. And so it was a real big record. And and let's see. I have it's a lot of records, man. Let's just say, let's see. Oh, yeah. one of my good friends, and I can't leave him out because he came to Houston and took me on a tour that also was one of the biggest changes in my life in the music, and because I was a grinder. I think that I did a lot of work like most of the rappers did as an R&B artist, and that what set me apart because I grinded because I was a real singer on records. And so when Juvenile came to Houston, I became a part of one of the first members out of UTP with me, Corey C, Wacko, Young Buck, and Skip. And went all the way to California. We did a lot of work together. Me and Juvie, we just 1 month apart each other, so we're the same age. You know, I'm in February, he in March. And we grinded a lot. We was all in Nashville recording on Music Row. We did a lot of work together, and a lot of respect for him because he took a lot of people under his wing. Juvie has a big heart, you know, and Juvie took a lot of people on the road with him. He had two tour buses on the road, and he paid out of his pocket. So that lets you know how much he believed in people. Is because he was no stranger to grind or hard work. He came from the hood, came from the projects. So he knew how hard it is. He knew when somebody wanted to make it. So I'm gonna be the first one to get you out of here. And so he was a big inspiration, big impact on me too as well, because I changed my whole singing flow up with him, and that's how I met 50 Cent. When 50 Cent was in Houston before we left out. So I only met him one time, but the style I had and because I could sing was so unique when it came down to rap singing. So you hear a lot of people rap singing and doing that, but I was doing that at Jones High School. So I came out with it way back in the day. I just didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't perfected. Almost like when you watch these Japanese anime, you know, like Baki. You know, I know I'm probably over some people's head when it's talking about Japanese anime, but I got inspired with a lot of stuff because I was able to go out of the country and experience different things. And I took all of that I was learning and what I was hearing and what I was seeing, and that's what you hear into my music. So I may be an original, but if I was trying to be like somebody else, I could only be a copy. And so no matter what, anybody can try to do what I do, it's going to be hard. Because they have to because I use my experiences to create my style.
This is a new one. This is a conversation me and one of my boys were having, and we were just talking about the word legend and just like what it means, and you know who's a legend, and you know all this other type of stuff. So could you tell me, you know, what you define as a legend, and if you consider yourself to be, you know, a legend, whether it be Texas legend or R&B legend, however you know.
Yeah. Well, to answer that question, I've done so much more than most people, more often than none. I've touched more records, meaning that if you like those records that I've touched, then it touched your heart. So legends are people who touch people's hearts, touch millions of hearts, billions of hearts, and not going out saying, I'm a legend. Now, we can put it on the record, put it in writing, but when people come up to you and say you're a legend, then you are a legend. So you can't toot your own horn. You can't beat your own chest. You let other people do that for you. You know, but sometimes you can say it in a record because that's the style, that's what you're speaking on at that time because you're speaking things into existence. There's nothing wrong with that. But when other people classify you as a legend, that means you've done something legendary. And the work speaks for itself. And one record, I know I've touched 1 million hearts, like Keke said in the song, but I'm on over 900 albums. And so when you think about those records I've been on, some of those records to this day probably didn't go gold till 5 years ago, but they were out 10 years ago. So I'm steady touching people's hearts without trying to do that because it wasn't done on that purpose to do that. It was done in the purpose of me being on those records to just be heard. I just wanted to be heard. I wanted people to hear how, not because of how great I could sing, but to hear that I had a gift and I'm reaching out to people. So giving back, I give back. And the reason, and when you look at what I've done and what me touching people's heart, I feel like I'm an advocate for singers. I'm an advocate for artists who haven't been heard. So when you hear songs like I was born by the river in a little tent, oh, like a river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long, 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 long time coming, and I know, oh, that a change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. So I'm an old soul in a new body, in a new genre of music, just trying to reach people. I just want to reach people. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, man. So what's next for Billy Cook, man?
Most definitely, me and you got to do a song.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
So that's one of the things I've always wanted to do. You know, and I know you multitask and you do a lot of different things, but
no, I told you, man. I got to do my Billy Cook.
Yeah, I got to do it, man, because it's about changing lives, one life at a time, one person at a time, and I do this because I'm trying to make sure that I reach out and help so many people. My music and my family is the same way. Like my son, he has a company called Lemonade Sips, and it was birthed out of something. You know, he said when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. He literally went out and started a lemonade business and custom lemonades because he wanted to see a different smile on everybody's face with every cup that he sold. He said, if you can go out and change lives one mic at a time, one record at a time, I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna start by doing this by doing it with my little girls right now. My son has 4 kids, 3 girls and 1 boy, and he's doing it for them. And every time you see them, the more lemonade sips, the more lemonade cups that he put out there. So, and it's to help with mental, we call it mental health. So we're not trying, we are doing it one cup at a time, each one teach one, each one reach one with each one of his cups. And I'm helping him do that. And he's helping a lot of young fathers, a lot of young teens, a lot of people who don't have help. So he's showing them, look, hey, he said, one thing he's learned, because he's been in network marketing with us, because we've been in network marketing for a long time, is that, you know, leaders go do it first. So if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to step out and be a man, be a father, and be that person that he needs to see, that tall mountain, so he have something to reach for. And so, and I tell every young brother, do the same thing. And we got to get into the communities and help the young men because we don't have enough of us.
Yeah.
We don't have enough of us.
Yeah.
So that's from daughters. A son needs to have a father in his life, and a daughter needs to have a father in his life. So she can know, so the daughter can see what a real man looks like, so she can know that when she goes out and looks for someone, she's not looking for just know anybody. So my music has touched so many people, and I want his lemonade to do the same thing. And I'm one of his biggest customers. I drink a lot of his lemonade. So now I gotta step away from drinking it and just sell more of it. You know, so but he's been doing very great with that. But mental health is a big thing with this, and that's what we want to do. We want to push that out. So being an entrepreneur has taught me how to get it out there.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. Well, man, you want to get your social media and everything before we get up out of here?
My IG is The Real Billy Cook. My Facebook is Billy Cook H-Town, or Billy Cook Houston. And but they'll see all my links on those pages. It's easy for me to give Instagram because I'm on that the most. I'm just now getting familiar with TikTok and Snapchat.
Yeah, I'm still coming around to TikTok.
But I get it now. I get it now. People are looking for us. They're looking for us, not me. They're looking for us. We as a people, we as a whole, we as an industry, we as the Houston culture.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Well, listen, man, it's been an honor, you know what I mean, to have you here, man. Hey, it's Donnie Houston Podcast, Billy Cook. Hey, man, we up out of here.
The Donnie Houston Show, baby.
Oh, yeah. Donnie Houston. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Subscribe to the Donnie Houston Podcast, man.